As a surface pattern designer, you may want to post your designs on social media, but a really nice, fun, and different way to do that is by using mockups like the one I have on screen. Mockups are awesome, but frankly, while mockups are really great to showcase your design and help people imagine what it would look like on a product, the amount of them that are available outside of Photoshop are really, really limited. I personally make my own mockups on Procreate that will be usable for whatever design you may want. So I'm going to show you how to create your own mockups in Procreate. Note that this is an extremely beginner friendly tutorial. You don't need to have a huge set of skills to create mockups yourself. You just need a bit of time, some photos with blanks, and you're ready to go. As we can see in my tracked time here, you can see that I've spent a big ol' 11 minutes making this. And once you are done with that 10, 11 minutes of work, you can transform your mockup from this to this with whatever design you want to use in seconds. So while the initial work is a bit tedious, afterwards you can reuse it as much as you want, and it is super, super user friendly. Before you start, you're going to need pictures with blanks. In my case, I pay for a subscription that allows me to use these pictures commercially, and I have tons of them. So that's what I'll be using. But you can always go to pexels.com or Unsplash and find blank photos. And when I talk about blank photos, it's really something like this. You can have shadows over the item. It will make the mock-up even more realistic. You can do shirts, you can do mugs. The item in the picture has to be blank. If that is respected, you can even get to the level of doing shirts, sweatshirts, which I will not cover in this tutorial, but this is definitely a possibility as well. You just have for shirts and sweatshirts to separate the panels for the front of the shirt and the sleeves just so it looks more realistic. So once you have your pictures ready, we are ready to go. If you're not a fan of wanting to do your mockups yourself, I do have all of my available mockups on Patreon and I release new ones every 2 weeks. So if you would like to get your hands on easy, already done mockups for Procreate, this is an option. My Patreon will be linked below. So we're going to start with this pillow. I think it is one of the easiest items to do, so it's a great way to get started. What you're going to do is you're going to add your picture as a layer and add a new layer over it. And for now, that's all you need. You're going to select the brush of your choice, like a monoline that is full opacity to trace your item. In my case, I use my soft liner because I'm really used to this brush. So basically, you're going to want to zoom in and trace really precisely the whole item you're wanting to cover. Ideally, you would have as little overlap or white edge as humanly possible at this point. So it will be tedious, but I swear it is worth it. So I'm going to accelerate this process while I trace everything. Take your time. It's not a race, and the more precise you are, the better your mockup will look. So I will catch you after the speed up. By the way, the color you use at this time does not matter. Choose a contrasting color where it's easy for you to trace. All right. So once you're done tracing and you're satisfied with the result, you're just going to pick your color and fill it in. Then you're going to alpha lock your layer by either pressing on your layer and selecting alpha lock or swiping right with 2 fingers. And you're going to pick pure white and fill your layer with white. Then you're going to go to your blending modes by clicking the N and change it to multiply, which is the first one up top. So basically, it looks like you've done nothing. If so, that's perfect. That's what you want. Next, we're going to just add your layer, flip it to the white, and change this to your art. If I can type, now what you're going to do is add your artwork to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to add, insert file or photo, and I am going to, hmm, let's say I'm going to go to Western Americana and choose whatever you would like, and you're going to import it. Then you can play around with the placement of your pattern or anything, and you're going to lower the opacity by like 3 to 5%. That's going to help the shadows go through and show up more on your design. And that's it. You have your first mock-up. Quite easy, just a bit time consuming, but quite fun to do as well. When you want to change your art, you're just going to press on your layer and select clear. Then you can add your new artwork. But every single time you add your picture of your artwork, you're going to need to decrease the opacity a little bit. It goes back to 100 every time you add a new picture, so it's necessary to lower your opacity manually each time. Now, to save it, to use it later, you're going to keep it as is, so no art on it. You're going to go to share as a Procreate file. That way, when you use it, it's always ready to go for new artwork. Objects such as phone cases, walls, or anything you would like, really. You have to really avoid every section where there is something you don't want covered with your design. So if your line goes like over the black around the camera, it's going to show up. So what you want is really to avoid any detail that does not need your design on it. And that's as easy as that. So that's all for this week's tutorial. It is a shorter one, but I'm sure it's going to have plenty of uses. Make sure you're using either free of rights images like the websites I mentioned earlier, or that you pay for your blank photographs if they're not free of use. Photographs are also artists. They do deserve compensation as much as any other artist. So, again, if you're not wanting to do this yourself, consider joining my Patreon where you can get mock-ups every single month. And yeah, that will be all for today. Make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.